My name is Mary Jane Encho. I'm the Deputy Chief Executive Officer for Hato Foundation from Ghana and also the National Coordinator for Giving Ghana. And I'm happy to be joined by, we have Simangele Eswali, and then we also have Monife Musasa, who will be giving us certain information that will help us in terms of the negotiations. So we have Monife Musasa, who is the International Policy Advisor of Africa at the International Fund for Animal Welfare. She brings us the overview of biodiversity negotiations. She'll be telling us where we are at the moment and what the progress has been so far. Whilst Simangele will also, who is the Senior Manager for Youth Leadership Program at the African Wildlife Foundation, will also bring us the global youth engagement and how Africa youth can get their voices heard at the biodiversity arena. So without much ado, I would request Monife to take the mic and to give us some information about giving us the overview of biodiversity negotiations, where we are, and then what we should be expecting in moving forward. So while she's giving us this information in 10 minutes, we'd want you to keep your questions down. You can even post them on the chat, and later on, those questions can be asked for you. Thank you. So Monife, you can take the floor now.
So good afternoon, everyone. Good morning from wherever you're joining. My name is Monife Musasa. I work for the International Fund for Animal Welfare as the International Policy Advisor. I'm a Malawian, but I'm based in Nairobi. So I'll just give you the status on where we are currently in terms of negotiations for the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. But before I do that, I'll just quickly let you know about the organization that I work with. So I4 is an animal welfare and wildlife conservation organization that was founded in 1969. It currently operates in 40 countries across the globe, and it does its work in partnership with governments, international organizations, NGOs, as well as local communities. Its work is focused on 6 or 7 programs, which include landscape conservation, marine conservation, wildlife crime, community engagement, wildlife rescue, marine rescue and rehabilitation, as well as disaster response and risk reduction. And all that work is done through different approaches. We care for individual animals. We do community engagement and development. We do policy advocacy, education outreach and awareness. We build capacity on law enforcement. We build wildlife security networks, as well as we do a lot of research in the 7 programs that we work on. Now back to the issue that I was to talk to you about. Basically, I'm talking about the Convention on Biological Diversity, which is one of the Rio Conventions. So the Rio Conventions are the 3 multilateral environmental agreements that were adopted during the Earth Summit in 1992. So it was adopted together with the United Nations Conventions to Combat Desertification, as well as United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Basically, the CBD has 3 objectives, rather. The first one is on the conservation of biological diversity. The second one is to ensure sustainable use of biodiversity and its components. And lastly, to ensure that there's fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from the use of genetic resources. The CBD, though being a global agreement, it's basically implemented through national level. It's implemented at the national level. So basically what it does, then people at the CBD, they'll sit down, identify a common problem, and then they're going to identify and set goals and policies, general obligations, and organize technical and financial support that is required to implement that. However, to achieve these goals that have been set, it actually rests in the countries themselves. And these countries are the ones that sign and ratify to the convention itself. So what the countries do for them to implement at national level, they are required to develop what we call national biodiversity strategies and action plans. And these are then supposed to be integrated into broader national level plans that are there for environment and development. Other countries, once they've developed that national biodiversity strategy and action plan, they will then adopt it as their policy or as their national plan for environment. Others will have them as two different documents. So it all depends on how the country has decided to implement that. On the decision-making process within the CBD, basically the ultimate authority in decision-making is with what we call the Conference of Parties. So this is the main decision-making body, and it comprises of countries that are parties to the convention. So basically what, in general sense, what they do is they review progress under the convention. So the progress that's being made by countries implement the convention. It's also responsible for identifying priorities for the convention. So as time goes, there are several other emerging issues that come out. So they identify which ones should be prioritized under the convention.